Hi everyone, this is Mark Rivera of GenreOnline.net on YouTube, and this is an unboxing and a review of the latest sarcophagus that I received from Big Bad Toy Store containing Iron Studios N1 Starfighter statue. I had such a good experience with the last Iron Studios Polystone Darth Vader on Throne statue that after seeing a video of this on YouTube, I decided I had to get it for myself. And what I'm going to do in this video is not only show you the statue, but I'm going to show you a comparison with the Hasbro Starfighter that I purchased last year, not knowing that this thing was coming out. And I will give you my own honest opinion as to whether or not it's worth buying this. So without any further ado, let's go. I like this packaging because it shows lots of care. This thing, it's a rainy day here where I live, and so when this came, even to get this box, this surface box off, because quite honestly, it's a little soggy. Not so much soggy now, but when I first got it, it certainly felt that way. So I just kind of wanted to get this done. Let me just put this on its back to get the bottom part. Okay. Yeah, you can see I have it on Lazy Susan, and that's with the reason so that I can show you the angles with these. So, okay. Lots of good tape, and they really know how to pack stuff at Big Bad Toy Store. And by the by, while I'm singing their praises, I'm not getting any kickbacks or anything like that from Big Bad Toy Store. I paid for this with my own money, and they're not giving me any commissions or anything like that. I bought it from them because I trust them. And not only that, their prices and reliability have proven to be better than buying in most other places that I've encountered. So I was happy that I was able to get this. I bought the last one that they have. I don't know what the exact count on this is. I'll let you know once I've opened it. But more or less, this statue is, you know, I bought it from them because I trust them. And that's the most important thing in me, is that you trust the retailer that you buy from, no matter what you're buying, you know? So hopefully, good, got this big box off. Okay. And just as I hoped. So let me just put this back on the Lazy Susan, if I can. Okay. Hopefully this will work, because, you know, there's always possibility of screwing this up. Okay. All right, now, okay, I have it on the Lazy Susan again. Hopefully you're getting all this. If there is some sort of camera malfunction, I apologize. Really, not really camera malfunction so much as me malfunctioning and not getting it right. So again, this is what I love what Big Bad Toy Store does. They take care to pack it out, put a box within the box, whereas normally if you bought something from certain other retailers, they just throw the box, the shipping box in the post office. And sometimes there are collectors that want to keep the shipping box because, you know, even though I don't consider buying statues or whatever to be an investment, like buying stocks and bonds or something like that, these things do go up in value depending on the edition size. And so it is advantageous to keep the box if you can. So hopefully I'll get this all out. I hope I'm not blocking the view. And you can see right back here, like the other time, there is a Big Bad Batman battle, and I don't know what they're referring to here. Maybe it's a comics thing, maybe it's something else. But, and there's some plastic on the bottom here, bubble wrap. And this is the biggest pain, is just, sometimes the biggest pain is just trying to, the shipping box is off. So now, here we are, we have the actual box that the actual box that is sent, you know. But once again, I really like the Iron Studio. The Big Bad Toy Store does this because it's extra care. They don't charge anything extra for it. In fact, with this particular title, because of, I guess, the cost and the weight, etc., it's about 22 pounds. I got $4 flat shake. $4 flat shake shipping, and they sent it FedEx ground. I got it in 5 days, and that's not a bad deal for $4. So here is the actual box that you would normally get, and that they got protected. This is what you would call the shipper normally, but like I said before, they give you the shipper before the shipper. So next step is to unbox the rest of it for you. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Now, protective cardboard right here, and you have these protective styrofoam. I don't know if they're styrofoam or not. They feel more like foam than styrofoam, if that makes any sense. But these protective things to protect the box corners, etc., within the box. You know, this is a high-end collectible as opposed to a toy. All right, now I always have trouble doing this, so I'm gonna just kind of try and use gravity to my advantage and carefully get this out, and then set it up the right way. So, okay, all right. Always do this carefully, and by the by, when you get something like this, if you're not sure, wait for your friend or a relative or someone who you trust to basically come over and give you a hand, because it's always better to be safe than sorry. Okay, take the wrapper off. Now I'm going to put the box on the Lazy Susan as it's supposed to be. And there you have it. Hopefully it's correct. Let me just check the camera to make sure that it is, that you guys can see it clearly. Okay, and this is the Iron Studios Star Wars N1 Starfighter 120 scale polystone statue. And it's what they call it, 120 demi-art scale. So whatever they're calling it, this is what I got. Okay, so let me show you. This is on all these high-end collectibles from Star Wars, they had this type of style where you use, depending on the maker and the box, sometimes you'll get 4 different angles, but usually you get this type of 2, like a more matte black here in a triangular form, and then a more glossy black here for the picture on the box itself. So here, of course, you see the triangle, the difference between the matte and the shinier black, but on neither side of this box do you see any profile or picture of the vehicle behind, which was the same case with the Darth Vader statue a few weeks ago. And there's actually no picture in the back, which kind of surprises me. But nevertheless, that's okay. Now we're going to take the styrofoam out of the box. So, again, we have to do these things with some degree of care. See, especially if you know, not everybody's super strong to carry these things all over the place. So if you're not sure, you know, always do things the easy way, not the hard way. Okay, and this to me is the smartest way of going about it, especially if you're here as one person, rather than trying to lift it out and pretending that you're, you know, Hercules, and then you get a hernia for your trouble. So, okay, now the box has been done, and as I've shown you in the past, let me just put this side up. Ooh, I hope I didn't fuck anything up, excuse my language. We have, as usual, the Iron Studio straps. There's no tape holding the styrofoam together, but we have the straps, so let me take those out. There's something satisfying about hearing that, shh, you know? Something I like about that. I actually keep these straps too. Even if I throw out the box, I would keep the straps just because they're cool. Another statue manufacturer, not all of them do this, like Starfighter Collectibles, which is one of my favorites. They don't do this much, you know? Now, my first Iron Studio statue, because I have 3 of them, including this, did have tape and the straps, but now I guess they just do the straps. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the camera off the tripod temporarily so I can give you a view of what it is inside. Then I'm going to build it, and after all of that's done, we'll talk about it, and then we'll do a comparison, and that will be the review, okay? So, be right back in one moment. Okay, so over here you see the Iron Studios branding, and we're going to take off the styrofoam cover, and this is the inside. Nice, everything is wrapped in paper, protective paper, so we'll do things one step at a time. With statues, you should always be careful, as I said before in the past, to always, and I mean this without exception, be very mindful and careful about these things. No matter how solid they may look, it's always easy to, you know, you just think you're going to touch something and boom, you break it. So this is pretty heavy, so I'm going to have to take this out with both hands. So I'm just going to shut this off for 1 second so that I can do that comfortably, and then I'll be right back. Thank you. Okay, we're back. So you can see in here, there's these things at the bottom. You can see still in the paper is the actual base. So there's some protective stuff here. All right, this is obviously the tail of the starship itself, the fighter. So I'm going to put that over there. Over here, and they put extra tape here, so they mean business. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Hopefully I can do this on camera for you. All right. So you get the actual experience that I'm getting live as opposed to me doing it beforehand. This is the ship, and it looks gorgeous. Okay. All right. A lot of this paper, but believe me, you'll be thankful to have it when you actually. This is, again, sorry for any bad camera work here. I'm just holding this by hand and I'm trying to figure out what's the best way of lifting this up. Okay, I got it. All right, so this is solid. This is a solid piece, no BS. So this is the actual ship. Okay, and we're going to go over everything about it, but I'm just taking it out of the box now. So we're doing one piece at a time. Okay, now move the paper out. All right, and then there is these 2 things. These are the back of the engines. Okay, they're in the paper, so carefully we take those out because, you know, these feel fragile. If they feel fragile, they must be, okay? And last but not least, let's see, is there something in here? Yeah, there's something in here too. I think these go in the front of the ship. They feel kind of fragile too. And last but not least, this is something they don't actually advertise, but this is, when I saw this, it sold me right away because I love this too. And this is, it has two display things, and one is a more traditional museum-like display that I like. Now we could look at the bottom here, and we could see Star Wars N1 Starfighter, Iron Studios, Demi-Art Scale 120, and this is 1/900, and this is number 197 of 200 pieces worldwide, made in China, StarWars.com, Disney Plus. Okay, so we've seen that. I'm going to put this here. And next, this I have to do off camera because one has to be careful. I'm going to put it together. Here's the pieces, and then we'll take a look at it. And then after the end of taking a look at everything, we'll do a comparison with the Hasbro one, which you can still buy in stores, which for some people might be the better deal, but we'll have to wait and see for ourselves, okay? So I'll be right back, and I appreciate your time and consideration and patience. Okay, now here we are. This is with the first stand, and I'm going to go over it piece by piece, okay? The base is solid polystone, okay? I think these are made from a type of resin, but they're magnetized and they're hefty, but not hefty like this, okay? The whole ship, it's obviously not 100% polystone, but there is a good weight to it. The Mando and Grogu inside the cockpit, which we'll get a close look at soon, are stationary. They don't come out. Don't try and open them, okay? I'm going to move closer now. These two laser turrets at the front, they're probably the trickiest thing to get in. You got to do it patiently and carefully because there's little holes inside here. And these things, they're not, I don't know if they're made out of plastic or what, but they're made out of something very, let's put it this way, these are fragile. So you got to carefully put them in, and the way they should go is, see this little piece sticking out? Well, it's always good to keep the boxes, even if you're not going to keep the box, to cut off the cover of the box, since they don't provide instructions or anything like that. It's always good to cut off the cover of the box, even if you're not going to keep the box, so that you have it always as a means of reference, you know. Believe me when I tell you, it helps a lot, because there was a couple of times when I was putting it together, especially those two guns, and again, you know, if I didn't have the box to look in, I could have done the wrong thing. This is the ship from the front. As you can see, the engines especially light up. Now the engines don't light up. Nothing lights up on this, but when you have the light flashing in it, they look like they're lit up, like from the inside, self-lit up, okay? And otherwise, besides the two turrets, most of the ship is one piece. So I'm just going to show you the bottom of it from here, okay? So it's a nice dynamic angle. You could see it's pretty much what you would expect. I mean, it's not very descriptive, but remember, this is from a time when the artistry of building a ship was actually probably more important necessarily than the more rudimentary and trying to think of the word, practical way they build ships in, or pragmatic way that they have ships in the Star Wars universe regularly. Now this is the view from the back. Okay, hopefully this is coming out clear. I'm hand holding the tripod at the moment. Okay, so this piece here connects by a magnet, but this is not stone. This is, it feels like it could be plastic. I really can't tell you for sure, but it's definitely not stone, or I'm not even sure if it's resin or not. It looks great, but I'm just letting you all know this connects via magnet. Once you put it in there, it's very secure. Okay, The only two pieces that are not by magnet, which I already explained to you, are the two guns over here. Now, these two pieces are resin, and this connects via magnet, and it's a strong magnet. See if I can pull it out and show you. Not with one hand. All right, I'm sorry about that. But, you know, one has to be safe and not sorry. So this is the top of the ship. Okay, so you can see Mando and Grogu over here. And it's nice detail. There's a little bit of weathering on the ship, or there could also be some dust from, see, this was all covered in plastic. I'm not covered with paper to protect it. So, you know, I like the paint. Paint job looks good. And overall, I'm impressed with I like the stand a lot because it puts it in a nice action pose, and this could be easier to display in certain cases depending on what you have for it. Okay. Now, when I do the comparison between this and the Hasbro one I bought last year, I'm going to do it with the other stand and not this because it's unfair to compare it with two different things. Now, if you ask me what is this supposed to be, I don't know what it's supposed to be. I guess it's supposed to be either hyperspace or space itself. I don't really know what the thinking behind it was, but at any rate, I do like it though. Like when you see it put together, it looks cool. Okay, so so that's pretty much it. Once again, magnet over here goes into here. This I believe is resin. This is all, for the most part, solid. I don't know if it's polystone, but it's got a lot of heft to it. These two could be plastic or very soft resin. Like I said, these you have to put in very carefully. There's a little hole on each side. Remember, this part here sticks out on the right and on the left. And if you're in doubt, always keep the box or keep the picture that's on the box so that you're secure and knowing that you're a-okay and you know what to do. Outside of that, like I said, the engine's magnet, this magnet, and the actual bait thing that this thing sits on is very secure. You can see it right there. It's transparent. You put it down, it fits right in snugly. Overall, this, when it's all put together and all said and done, it's a solid piece. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off this stand and I'm going to put it on the other stand that it comes with so that we can see the difference, and then I'm going to take out the Hasbro one and we can do a compare and contrast, and that will sum up this unboxing and review. So thank you for your patience, and I'll see you in a few seconds. Okay, this is it on the second stand, and because you really need some elevation in order to see the Star Wars N1 Starfighter Iron Studios logo. Otherwise, if you just put this on a flat surface, you're not really going to be able to see it so well. So I suggest if you do choose this method of display, put it on a higher, like on a higher shelf, not on a lower shelf, so that people can see it if this is the way you want to display it. So here is what it looks like. It's very nice. It has, it looks like it almost looks like it has something over it, but I just think that's an illusion. I don't really know what it is, but it's solid. And by the by, for those of you who are wondering, taking the spaceship off from its stand and feeling it, it's definitely polystone or something close to it, because it's heavy. It's not heavy like it's going to break your arm, but it's got heft to it. In other words, you don't want this falling because it will break. But you know, it is a high-end collectible, and so unfortunately with high-end collectibles, you're not always going to get something that, for lack of a better expression, that's durable, because these things are not meant to be played with. They're not for kids. In this particular case, these are meant for super fan adults that can afford to purchase these things on their own or save up their money and specifically for one piece. And after it's announced, maybe a year or so later, when it finally becomes, because these things are usually made by hand based on a prototype, and basically, you know, you put it together, and you know, you put it together like I already explained, and it goes in well. Now, there's always a small chance that I have this on the wrong way. I mean, I'm looking at the bottom. I don't believe I have. There's no picture for me to be certain, but this is what it looks like at the bottom. Anyway, it's very plain. You can see the landing gear is all in there. I'm gonna do a bottom of the bottom of the ship here. Okay, and I know it's not much to look at, but you know, it is something that at least I'm showing you so you could see what it looks like. You got to get every angle of it, and I've got the flash on so purposely so that you all can actually see what this is supposed to look like as a close-up of the engine. And I'm going to also take some photos too, so and usually my photos can reveal even more detail sometimes than the actual video, just simply because these iPhones, which is what I'm shooting on, have fantastic cameras. I mean, if you have an iPhone, more likely you don't even need to have if you're just a regular, you know, if you're not a professional photographer or something, you don't necessarily need to have a camera. Your iPhone pretty much, and I'm sure this is the case with some Android phones as well, like the Google Pixel or the Samsung Galaxy or whatnot. All of these things have really good cameras. So, you know, that's the world that we live in. So now I'm going to go closer on top, okay? So you guys can get a better view, okay? All right, and hopefully, if you have any comments, questions, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. I love to engage, you know, all right? And believe me, I don't lie. I mean, this is bought. I purchased this, so Mando, nicely detailed. I mean, you could just see the brown strap. He looks fine to me. And Grogu, well, it looks like what you'd expect Grogu to look like with the little bowl and all. Okay, and here's the side. I mean, more or less, it's kind of a plain ship. Okay, it's not supposed to be shiny or whatever. Even though, you know, because this is already like more than probably more than 40 years already since these things were used at the time of the Phantom Menace. So, you know, so I would imagine that, you know, keeping these things shiny and bright was the last thing people are thinking about at this point in the timeline. So what I'm going to do now is grab the Hasbro one, and it's already on its own stand, and we'll compare and contrast. Okay, so just hold on. Okay, so here we are. This is the Hasbro one that was released last year as part of the Vintage Collection, and it's next to the Iron Studios 120 Demi-Art scale statue. Now, to be fair, this is on the Lazy Susan mainly because I can turn around easier, but this is on the stand of one of the two stands that this comes with. It's ironic that both versions have a different stand. The other stand is not much to look at. It's just a plastic stand that's transparent. There'll be a link to my review of this ship when I first got it so that you can look at it and compare on your own. But and I also have a review of the display case that I bought for this, which I'm probably still going to keep for that because this thing is definitely bigger. But okay, we can see let's just look at the front. Comparatively speaking, you see the light engines, okay? And then we see here, you definitely don't get that same effect here on the Hasbro one, okay? It's just plain gray, all right? All right, and now we're gonna go above, okay? Pardon my finger. You can see the paint, etc. It's more darker, okay? Now we're gonna go to the Hasbro. It's a lighter, it's definitely more plasticky looking. Now this is interesting that the laser things on the Hasbro, hopefully my finger, okay, you could see it's painted in a different way as opposed to here. You actually get more detail. You get this like, looks like a coil or something, but whereas on the Hasbro one, it's just pretty much, you do have the coil, but there's a paint difference there. That's all I could say. What's more screen accurate? I don't know. The front of these, you have little holes at the edge for the lasers. And the front of these, it just looks like they're sealed, so you could see the little holes, but they're more sealed, okay? Now let's go look at the bottom, because, okay, so you see the bottom here, all right? Just comparing. All right, and now we're gonna look at the bottom of the Hasbro. Okay, this looks about normal. Although, with the Hasbro, and this is much lighter, you can see the screws at the bottom, but most people are not gonna pick this up and look for the screws or whatever, but this is a toy that's also a collectible. Not a high-end collectible, but it is a good collectible. And if you're, I mean, I liked it, and if I didn't know the other thing existed, I would have been perfectly happy with this. And this is the second stand that it comes with that has the Star Wars The Mandalorian branding. Now this is not an edition size because it's a toy, but you can do some things with this stand, like you can make it go like this, whereas on the other one you have to have the other stand. So in some areas, okay, now I'm just gonna move this to the other side. Woo, the other one, I got to move this because the other one is much bigger than the Hasbro one, which you'll soon see. Okay, so let's see, look at the top here. I bought the R5D4 where you could just plug the head in on the top. This does come with a carded exclusive Mando 3 3/4 inch figure with accessories. But I didn't want to open that since it's exclusive with the set, and so I just bought a Mando at the store, and it comes with Grogu. And when you put the R5D4 in here, the plastic thing you just put back in the box. Otherwise, you have, okay, you see some color here in the engine. Okay, some detail over here. No color, well, you do see it, but it's a little bit more subtle, more defined. What is more screen accurate? Again, I really don't know. They're both very similar. This one has a cleaner look, but whereas this one looks a little bit more weathered. But otherwise, they look very close. They look virtually the same. I mean, this is obviously light plastic, but still, they look virtually the same. There's some nice detail here, like, I don't know what it's supposed to be, oil or something, but you have the same paint things here. Let's take a look at the tail. The tail on this, you can tell it's plastic. This one's definitely more plasticky, but otherwise it looks fine. Okay, and here's the bottom. The engine's right there, it's gold. We're gonna look at the back at the other thing, but ooh, okay. But over here again, you can see the screws at the bottom, but otherwise, you don't really see the landing gear things, but again, you're not paying, unfortunately, the way it goes is this. The more detail they put into this, the more intricate it becomes, the more higher price it becomes sometimes, just because, okay, you have the landing gear, but they're more light, easy to miss, and the screws kind of screw it up. And plus, you even have writing at the bottom, which betrays the replica thing only because on the other one you don't. And usually with high-end collectibles, since you're supposed to be buying a screen-accurate replica, obviously he's not going to have Hasbro manufacturing, patent pending, whatever it might be, information on it. All right. But otherwise, this holds up pretty well. I mean, I think it's a great looking toy and a collectible in its own right. So how does this compare with the other one? Well, I'm going to show you that. I'm just going to put this to the side because this is much bigger than that. Okay. Okay. So here we have. Okay, yeah, this is wow. This is definitely different. More weathered. The engine you could see is blue. They have the blue hue, whereas on the back here it's just brown. There's no color whatsoever. Here you have this blue hue, and the coloration is just Let me see. I'm sorry for putting my finger there. It is a slight gold, but it's more subtle, a little more light. You know, I'm not sure if that was supposed to be paint or just the materials, but it gives you the illusion anyway of more detail. Okay, and you've already seen the bottom, so you know there's no screws or anything, and no writing on the bottom that says this is a patent pending from Iron Studios or something like that. You know. Everything on the Iron Studios at the bottom of the bases, etc., including the numbering, because this is a limited edition product. Okay, and so let me put these two next to each other, and then we'll get an aerial view, and I'm going to try and put them in similar positions to be fair. And okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, this is the Iron Studios one. Okay. And this is the Hasbro one that was released last year. Just a little higher for you guys. With the figures and the R5D4 that's sold separately, by the way. And there it is. Okay. So this is what it looks like from the front. And there will be still photographs at the end of this review so you can look at them. Okay. You can screenshot them or whatnot so you can get your own, your own, so you can have it for reference purposes. But over here, you could see how they both look in that way. Now I'm going to put this to the side over here, and this one is a little, because this one is bigger, it's like I'm always worried about having the tail brush against this. So here is this, okay. In this way, I'm sorry if it got out of focus there for a second. And here is the other one. Okay, I'm gonna pull back a bit so that you can get a better sensation for what the thing looks like from the sides. Okay, in the top. Okay, so okay, so you can see a difference between the Iron Studios and the Hasbro versions. Okay. All right, and then from the back, and sorry, every time it's hard not to make those spaceship sounds when you move this thing because it's just one of them little kid things, I guess. But okay, so here is it from the top backwards. Okay, and here is the Hasbro one. So the Hasbro one is basically lighter. It's made from plastic. It still looks very good, okay? I mean, I still like it, but I do think the Iron Studios one is more highly detailed and made from better materials. Let me just put these two front facing, okay? Actually, let me move this to the side because this is definitely bigger, which you'll soon see when I show you from the top. That's like the clearest evidence. Okay. All right, so we put these together and move it so. Okay, and move this over. And now hopefully moving up as quickly as I can, as fast as I can, putting them head to head, and I'm gonna put this straight. You can see the difference right here. Okay, one is definitely made from plastic, but it looks great still, and the other one is made from polystone and resin for certain pieces anyway, but the ship and the base is no joke, polystone, and you feel the heft of it. The Iron Studios one is longer because I guess a slightly larger scale. There are no accessories for this other than what it comes with, the two different stands. This also has two different stands. It comes with Grogu and the Mandalorian in a carded figure. But if you want the R5D4 add-on, you have to pay for that separately. You have to buy it, in other words. And they both come with different stands. One has this stand, it is more museum-like, and the other one has the, I don't know what you would call it, but what I showed you before, and there'll be still pictures of what that looks like. And you'll also have a link to the review of this, as well as the display case that I got for this just so, you know, to be complete. All right. So anyway, that's it really. I mean, I think I've done about as good and thorough review as I can on this. It's long, but hopefully you'll find that it has been worth it. So this is my review of Iron Studios Star Wars N1 Starfighter 1/4 scale Polystone demi-art scale Polystone statue from and with the comparison to last year's Hasbro Star Wars, the Vintage Collection Star Wars The Mandalorian N1 Starfighter. Whichever you choose, if you want the statue one, it's very limited pieces. As I showed the edition size earlier in this video, whereas this you can buy readily in the store. There's a big difference in price now. This is altogether with shipping and tax came out to $800 something. This with shipping and tax directly from Hasbro, it was like $150 something. So there's a big price difference. And I come from a time when you used to be able to buy, like when they had the AT-AT first come out back in 1980, which was huge, okay? That was $50, and I could only imagine what they charge for it today. So, you know, inflation-wise, I guess this is about right, what you would pay for this type of thing. And inflation-wise, this is what you would pay for a high-end version of the same thing. Otherwise, if you can afford it and you could find it, I say go for the Iron Studios. But if you can't and you just have this is nothing to sneeze at. It's a very nice piece on its own. And I plan on keeping them both. So, because I love spaceships. So I'm just going to display them in separate areas, but I'm planning on keeping them both. Anyway, this is Mark Rivera of Genre Online Net on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. And if you like this video, I'd love it if you'd hit the like button as well. And if you like my videos and shorts, please subscribe. It really means a lot, okay? So I'll see you all soon, and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Bye-bye now.